So I finally decided to start coming up with some video footage after I saw Tim Ferriss had also finally started making short videos. I thought I can't be one of the latest adopters. No, just making fun. Um, so I was always kind of afraid to shoot videos and all that kind of stuff because I just can't really see myself or listen to myself. I think it's really a pain in the ass. But anyways, I decided to start making this shorts episodes of walk and talk Q&A. It's just an experiment, so please let me know if you think it's good, if you have any feedback, if you don't want to hear any of this stuff anymore. So, what is it all about? It's pretty much about you asking me or me answering a whole bunch of questions that people usually ask me quite often, or questions that maybe you might have right after having listened to this episode. And one of the things that most people ask me is, Jan, how the hell, uh, why are you being invited to all sorts of events as a speaker or giving workshops all over Europe? This was one of the most popular questions that people asked me over the past year, so I decided to use the chance and answer this question right away at this first episode. So the way how I started was actually after I quit my job in the summer of 2013. Um, I decided to start writing a book about my experience having worked in Berlin, in New York, and also having started a company in China which failed and burned really terribly. Let's put it that way. And because it was so late writing the book and I didn't really know what to write about, I decided to promote it right away. That was actually my entire thing, that I would try to promote the book before I even had it. So I contacted all sorts of universities in Germany. I guess it were 20 to 30 universities. I just fired up Google, was looking for universities in Germany, and I sent emails to each and one of them. And out of those 20 to 30, maybe 15 replied. I had 10 Skype calls. Out of the 10 Skype calls, I don't know, I had maybe 8 or 9 presentations at universities in Germany where I talk about my experiences as an entrepreneur, as an employee in the corporate venture capital scene. And the way I pitched them was pretty much about me providing value, about me sharing my experiences with them without trying to really promote myself too much. And that was one of the lessons that I learned. That it's really about providing value first and not trying to get anything and not trying to promote yourself too much. And so that kind of worked out pretty well. That was, I guess, end of 2013. Then, and I guess the end of, no, beginning of 2014, my girlfriend and I broke up. I didn't really have an apartment anymore. I was pretty much staying at her place all the time. I mean, we were only 6 months, but so then I decided to not really look for an apartment in my hometown Munich, where I'm actually still walking around right now. And yeah, that was it. And then it was hanging out in Munich for 1 or 2 months, trying to organize a road trip similar to the one that I made in Germany, but entire Central Eastern Europe. Why? Because I've never been there, and I saw that there's really a lot of stuff going on, a lot of startups and entrepreneurship things is going on there. So then I pretty much decided to go there, and the way how I organize everything is the same approach again. I didn't know anybody there. My network was super weak. Same as in Germany, I didn't really know anybody, and I just fired up Google. Was looking for all sorts of accelerators and incubators because I wanted to step it up a notch. I didn't really um, just stick with the universities. I wanted to get one step further, and to me it was accelerators and incubators. So I contacted again maybe 20, 25 of them, and when I started my tour in Prague, I only had one date confirmed. That was in Prague for one presentation. Funny enough, the girl helped me out quite a lot in Czech Republic. Introduced me to 8 other people. Out of these 8 other people, maybe 3 or 4 other presentations came out of it, or workshops. So in the end, it took me around about 1 to 1.5 months to really get this stuff going. Of course, it wasn't really like 24/7 work. It was just writing a bunch of emails, but the waiting was kind of terrible. And I still set out without really having confirmed too many dates yet. But I thought that I had to do it, otherwise I might never really do it. And so the tour lasted around no, I guess like 2.5 to 3 months. And I've been to countries and held presentations and workshops in Czech Republic, Poland, Hungary, Romania, Serbia, Slovenia, and yeah, it was really a great time. I learned quite a lot about the local ecosystems. I built up an incredible network, which led to probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 other invitations. Um, and actually, I'm going to fly tomorrow to Slovenia again for quite a huge conference that's going on there. A conference that I was invited to because I actually met the organizer during my time when I was traveling in the summer in Central Eastern Europe. And I saw that he was organizing quite a big conference in Slovenia about startups and corporations. So I knew a bunch of people. Most of them I actually also met during my tour. And so I introduced him to those folks that I also just met recently, just a while ago. And he invited them as speakers. And after that, he also asked me like, Yann, why don't you show up? Why don't you come around? There's like you can participate in a panel. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? If you pay accommodation and the flight, I'm in. I'm totally in. And so that was one funny lesson learned that sometimes even if you don't want to, even if you just want to help out, people automatically also want to help you out, right? So that was a funny experience for me as well. So the next thing that I learned is that it's first of all, it's not that you try to provide value for yourself, that you try to promote yourself, but you actually try to bring value to the other people. Let's say at the universities, it was experience from the outside. It was someone who not only not knows entrepreneurship from a theoretical point of view, but also from his own experiences. So that was kind of interesting to see. The second thing is the lesson that I learned, or the lesson that I want to share with you, is that in the beginning you shouldn't really try to charge people. And the way that I found out works pretty well for me was that I always ask people whether or not they have a budget. And if they say no, then I say, okay, it's cool. I'll just come by. I'll just drop by. And sometimes people say, yeah, we have, but only for flights and accommodation. So that's also totally cool because you're not in it for the short term, right? You're in it to build relationships, and relationships cannot really be built if you try to monetize relationships right from the very start. It's actually about providing value and specifically also about gaining people's trust. So, because who am I? I mean, nobody knows me. Nobody has ever heard my name. So you got to be willing to not necessarily eat dirt in the beginning, but to be willing to offer your services. Also not for free, but ask people whether or not they have a budget, and if they don't, then be cool about it and hope that at one point you will get further bookings or whatever you want to call it. Which is a funny thing because right after my visit in Slovenia tomorrow, I'll also be heading to Belgrade, where I've been already before during the summer. And this guy, I'm working together with his company now quite closely. I'm actually also a mentor for his program. While I will be teaching some of his companies and some of the founders how to more or less accelerate their growth, or this evil word growth hacking we tend to use quite often these days. And afterwards, I'm also going to be at Pioneers Festival, which is one of the biggest startup festivals in all over Europe, which also only came together because I met a guy during the summer where I also worked at one of these startup events. So it's really about trying to build relationships instead of trying to make money out of it, because that's not the way how it goes. That's at least not the way how it went for me. Long story short, I guess there's a few essential lessons. It's always try to provide value. Never try to promote yourself or anything else. At least not first. The second lesson is always be willing to work for more or less, not a low budget, but try to work in the beginning, try to start off with low prices, and then you have referral customers or referral, whatever you want to call it, and then people will see, oh, wait a minute, now he did presentations in all sorts of universities in Europe, or oh, wait a minute, he worked together with XYZ company, and that also decreases the risk of people. And I guess another lesson is definitely that you're in it to build trust. That in the beginning, like, nobody knew me in the beginning. Everybody was like, "Who is this Yann? I don't know him, so I don't trust him." So you need to show up over and over again, and that's because that's the only way that people will start trusting you. And I said this on my blog quite often. It's actually not about B2B or B2C anymore. No, actually, I didn't say it. I copied it from somebody else. I saw it. Someone else posted it. It's not about B2B or B2C anymore. It's about H2H. It's really about connecting with people, building up trust, and then maybe at one point, the relationship is strong enough that people will also start getting in business with you, start a relationship with you, start investing in your company. It always boils down to the same thing. So folks, I guess it was the first episode of Walk and Talk Q&A. If you have any recommendations, feedback, please let me know. Post below this video, give your feedback, and I hope the quality wasn't so terrible, because I usually don't use a smartphone. So this is actually my 2-year-old smartphone, Chinese smartphone, which is really crappy. So if you have any recommendations, what kind of headphones, what kind of microphone I could use to make these sessions as good as possible. So please let me know. Also, again, if you have any questions you would like me to answer, feel free to do so below the video. Send me an email, or send me a message on Facebook or on Twitter. You know where to find me. Alright, that's it. See you guys.